Welcome. My name is Matthew Stevens, and this is Pedal Echoes, a discussion about what pedals inspired or influenced an artist's creativity for new music. My discussion with Ben Tyner from Colin Phils happened in the evening of November 12, 2020. This is episode 8. Ben Tyner is the guitarist vocalist of Colin Phils, an American post-rock band from Richmond, Virginia. Colin Phils started in South Korea in 2013. Ben is joined by Karyn Mauch on synth and vocals and Ben Mauch on drums. Welcome to Pedal Echoes. How did Colin Phils get started?
We started right after I moved to South Korea to teach English. I just started playing with a friend, and we were like, oh, I guess we need like a band name. And we got booked for a couple gigs, and I kind of just threw together the name thinking it would be unassuming, I guess was my original thought. Like, oh, this, like, no one's going to think we're this genre, you know? And I kind of wasn't actually thinking of Phil Collins at the time, other than I think, you know, subliminally, I came up with the name Colin, tagged on Phil's. And then after our first show, everyone's like, that's a hilarious joke, man. Like, that's so funny that you came up with that name. And I was like, oh yeah, I guess so.
Can you walk me through your current setup pedalboard wise for the writing and or recording of this LP?
I guess the first pedal that you would have to attribute like some of our sounds to would be the DL4, the Line 6 DL4, which is what I would start a lot of like the loops with, and then later it becomes like the octave or like the kind of glitchy sounds that are going in double time.
And so I wait, but I'm impatient. Got my eye, but I'm blind.
And that's what I use the DL4 for mostly. And then I'll loop that into the RC30. It's just another looper essentially, but like a much longer one. I should mention I also have the EP boost, which kind of just, it's just a little bit of coloring and kind of pushes my signal a little bit hotter, which is nice occasionally. And then I also have the Earthquaker tone job, which is, I mostly use it for EQing because I have it at the very beginning of my chain and I go out to 3 amps. So it's nice to have like one master switch that I can adjust on the fly with my toe. The EP is pretty far down the line. I have gone through so many. I'm sure this one made it onto the album. Speaker Cranker by Earthquaker devices. The whole chord holds together. You can hear all the notes, but there's like a little bit of grit on there. My other tricks would be using things like octaves. So I've got like 3 different octave pedals. Whether it's to go lower or higher. I use the whammy 5 to go up. There's a setting on it where you can go between like the 5th and the 6th. So it kind of sounds like a slide guitar. The other octave pedal I have is called the more tender octaver. It can go up and down and you have your clean. So you have 3 different options. I pretty much just use it for the octave down, and that combined with distortion, and you just get this like massive, especially if you throw on some like reverb. Like if you hear the song Squirrel Jim for the big part, it's just distortion and this more octave, a full octave down. A lot of times we don't play with a bass player, and when that's the case, I do a separate line out to a bass amp. And I use the Super Octave OC3 pedal by Boss. It just tracks, you know, a separate pure signal that's not going out to my guitar amps. It's going out to like, you know, it's kind of like a synthy sort of sounding bass. And you can kind of pick what note it would go up till. So I normally have it go up to like a B, where it's not going to be a full octave, but it's going to track with me for 9 frets or something. I would normally have it. But there's definitely some songs that the Super Octave like synthy bass made it on there, including the newest song, Squirrel Jim. All the bass sound is completely from this pedal.
Other than the octave pedals, what kind of distortion are you using?
It's all from the pedals. I don't use any distortion from amps because it's loop based. If you do like a really nice line and you have an amp that has natural distortion, then everything's just going to be distorted. And I'm like stacking layers where like I want the last layer to be distortion, but everything else to still be like nice and clean, or, you know, I want options. So that kind of forces me into the pedal world, and also forces me into having all solid state amps for live, at least I should say. The Joyo Blu-ray, I have it like really dialed up, so it's like when you turn it on, it's just this like if you ever hear any like massive distortion on our album, it's coming from this pedal 100%. And a lot of our songs, like our quintessential songs, have moments where it's like building, 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 big moment, like in Chappie or something. Like when we get to the end, it's just like and that's when I would use this pedal combined with the octave. So I use those two together often. The Hall of Fame is, I have it permanently set on a tone print that somebody created that I still don't know. And somebody sent it to me at a random Guitar Center like in 2015. He was like kind of trying to sell me on the pedal. He's like, yeah, check this out. Like my buddy made it. It's this like really long tail on it. I'm like, okay, sure. And he sends it to my phone, and I've never been able to find that exact one because like, I think he kind of like crafted it himself, like through there's like a website or something you can use.
Through that editor, right?
Yep. So, and I've never actually done that. I've just liked it so much that I've left it.
What would you say Colin Phils has coming up?
Well, really the only thing that we had planned like really far out in advance that got canceled was there's a post-fest that happens in Indiana.
Thank you for being on Pedal Echoes today.
Thanks a lot.
To find out more about Colin Phils, please visit colinphils.bandcamp.com. Trustfall is available now. From Colin Phils, this is Squirrel Jim. Please like this video and subscribe to this channel. It goes a long way.